This is an affordable Casio digital watch with a retro 90s inspired design, but should you add it to your collection? What's good, bro? I'm Louis Gusto. Welcome to another watch review. Today we're checking out this bad boy. It's the Casio WS1600. We'll get into the materials, measurements, and my personal thoughts on this digital watch. But before we get into any of that, make sure you finesse that like button and subscribe for more men's fashion and watch content. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers before the end of the year, and I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you drop a comment if you own this watch, and in case you want to add it to your collection, I will have an affiliate link in the description below. The Casio WS1600H-1AV retails for $29.95. It comes in standard Casio watch packaging. That's a white paperboard slipcover over a blue paperboard box with the Casio word mark. Inside you'll find the watch on a black plastic watch stand, complete with instruction manual. The WS1600 is an all resin digital watch. It comes in a variety of colors, but this particular model has a black resin case, black resin strap with pin and buckle closure, and resin glass. The Casio WS1600 measures 45 millimeters lug to lug. It's got a case width of 42.1 millimeters, a case thickness of 12.5 millimeters, and the watch weighs 39 grams. The watch crystal is made from resin glass. It's got a stainless steel back and 4 buttons, aka pushers, 2 on either side of the case. And now let's take a closer look at the watch face. The WS1600 features an octagonal design. Around that resin glass, you have a resin bezel, above which you have the Illuminator branding, and below which you have the 10-year battery label. Beneath that resin glass, you've got a lot going on. We'll start with the main LCD screen with the time, the day of the week, the month, and the date. Below that, you have the WR logo as well as the alarm and chrono labels. Just above that, you have the countdown timer wording in red, and above that, you have 3 more LCD screens, 2 bars and a circle. In the main timekeeping mode, those keep track of the seconds, and they have different functionality depending on whether you're using the stopwatch or the countdown timer. Around the LCD screens, you've got a black dial, of course, the Casio branding at the very top. Next to that, the WR 100 meters, and all 4 buttons are labeled: mode, light, start, and adjust. Like I said before, there's so much going on this watch face in terms of wording that I don't think there's any need ever to bust out the instructions. In terms of features, the WS1600 is going to feature pretty much everything you could want in a cheap, affordable digital watch. Starting with the main timekeeping mode in 12 or 24-hour mode, it's going to be very accurate. You got the day of the week, the month, the date, a stopwatch with various lap functionality, a countdown timer, interval, daily alarm, world time, many different time zones. I forget how many exactly. You got 2 times, so you can program your favorite time zone outside of where you currently live. If you're traveling, this is perfect. For example, I live in New York City, but I frequently travel to Paris, London, and Los Angeles, so it's really great that I can program a second time zone on this watch. There's a daily alarm, an hourly chime signal, there's a full auto calendar, and an LED backlight. Now that we got the tech specs out the way, let's check out how the Casio WS1600 looks on my 7.5-inch wrist. And here we go with yet another affordable, cheap Casio digital watch. The WS1600 is packing a lot of features. Pretty much everything you could want in a digital watch at this price point. And in fact, it has a lot more than other similar watches that you're gonna pay the same price for. Like I mentioned, it does come in a variety of colors. This is the black resin model. There's a lot going on here. First of all, it wears very big on my 7.5-inch wrist. I like that. I have other Casio digital watches and they're quite small compared to this one. But even with that larger size, it's lightweight, and I credit that to the resin materials. So it's not constructed of the finest materials on earth, but that's kind of what brings it down to the affordable price tag. It does retail for $29.95, but you can frequently find it for much cheaper than that. In fact, I will have an affiliate link in the description in case you want to add it to your collection. This is a perfect sports watch. It's inspired by retro 1990s watches. In fact, I read somewhere that soccer referees use this around the world to keep time. That stopwatch is quite complicated. Way more complex than any other digital watch in my collection. If you're a chronograph nerd, then this is the watch for you. You've got intervals, you've got 2 bars that help you keep track of 5-second bursts and 10-second bursts. You've got lap functionality, first and second place. I mean, there's just so much going on with this stopwatch. I'm surprised it still tells time and gives you the day of the week. It's got a nice LED backlight, not quite the illuminator, but still, it's gonna get the job done. The display is big. Of course, the watch face itself is big. And there's a lot going on here. A lot of words: chrono, alarm, countdown timer, Casio, WR. There's so much going on. All the buttons are labeled. It's funny that it even comes with an instruction manual, because really, you're not gonna need it unless you are completely new to digital watches. For my taste, there's just way too much going on. I don't think that it needs to be labeled that it's a 10-year battery, because once you buy it, say you've had it for 5 years, it's no longer a 10-year battery. And also, other than the Casio word mark and maybe 1 or 2 labels on the buttons, do we really need to know every time we look at the watch that it has a countdown timer, an alarm, a chrono, that it's water resistant? It tells you not once, but 2 times that it's resistant to water. Once is enough, bro. It also lets you know that it has an illuminator, but also the light button is labeled. So do you really need it 2 times? There's just way too many words going on here. I like simplicity in my digital watches unless it's explicitly necessary to have more than 1 word on there. This is a watch that, even though you can buy it for under $30, it doesn't look cheap, nor does it feel cheap. Even though it's constructed of resin, it's super lightweight, it feels solid on my wrist. I know that it's gonna hold up. This is a watch that I would definitely rock to the gym. I wouldn't be afraid, because if it gets scratched up, hey, the screen is big enough that I'm still gonna be able to see what's going on. It's a good watch for running errands, cleaning up around the house, washing dishes, maybe playing any sport from basketball, running, whatever. Like, if you need a stopwatch at all on your wrist, this is maybe the one for you. When I launched this channel, I started with a review of the Casio F91W. That's a very iconic yet simple digital watch. It's quite small, quite lightweight, and very affordable. The WS1600 is certainly a step above that, so if you're comparing the two, this might be the one to go with. It wears a lot larger, it's got nice buttons, good display, great functionality, a very nice LED illuminator. I like the shape of this watch. The buttons are easy to push. It's very simple to adjust this watch. It took me not more than 30 seconds to set the correct time, day of the week, month, and date. Like I mentioned, I appreciate that it has world time. That's something, again, that you're not gonna see in a lot of digital watches around this price point. Casio packed a lot into this watch, and I think it shows because it's one of the more popular models. I would say the most unique thing about this watch, and maybe my favorite part of it, is the 2 bars and the circle above the main time. Just staring at the watch face and seeing the bars light up in various ways as the seconds tick away, it's really cool. It's entertaining, really. It's a way to get a little bit of fun out of your cheap digital watch without going full smartwatch. I will admit that when I first put this watch on my wrist, I couldn't quite figure out the stopwatch. I didn't know how to stop it or reset it, and I think I figured it out, but I'm not 100% sure that I know exactly how the stopwatch works, which makes sense. I mean, for me, when I use a stopwatch, I just need the simplicity, start and stop. I don't need laps, I don't need first place, I don't need intervals or anything like that. But again, if that's something that you need, if you're a referee, if you're playing a sport or running track or whatever, anything that you need interval times or first and second place, hey, this is a good one for you. At under 30 bucks, it's affordable, it's sporty, it doesn't look cheap. And even though I wouldn't necessarily wear it to a nice dinner or a great museum or, you know, around traveling and stuff like that, I think it's a good gym watch. I think it's a good starter watch. It's a nice one to have in your collection. Another great aspect of this watch is that it's very legible. The LCD screen showing the time, the day, and the date is very big, easy to read. Light will help you out once the sun goes down. This is a great Casio digital watch with a unique design, a lot of cool features. It comes in at a very affordable price. If I had to nitpick something about this watch, it's just way too busy on the face. I love the design, I love the bezel, but there are just too many words here. I don't need the 10-year battery. I don't need 2 reminders that it has an illuminator light. I don't need 2 reminders that it's water resistant. I don't need to be reminded every single time I look at the face that it has a countdown timer. The buttons being labeled, I can live with it, but I wish they were a little bit sleeker. Really, with a couple of tweaks, I think a customization of this watch could look very nice, but for a $30 watch, I really don't think it's worth it. But all in all, it's gonna be a reliable watch, super accurate. It's Casio, so you know it's gonna last you a long time. It's gonna be a decade before you have to replace that battery, but I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But I wanna know your thoughts on this watch. Is it in your collection? Are you planning on adding it? As always, I appreciate you watching, bro, and I will see you next time. But for now, I'm out of here. Peace.